to keep myself communicating and to not let pent up emotions get the best of me, I'm going to go ahead and say my thoughts on everything that happened yesterday. Okay. Um so like trying to consider how to separate myself from what people do that upsets me and what I do, and trying to consider if I'm making the good decision about what my choices are. That's one thing that I'm trying to figure out, and because um, it's important. Okay, so let me say the first thing was that I thought of, and guess what? I slept in my bed that I built last night. My back feels so wonderful this morning to get myself into a real bed. So that is good. So um, let me see if I can get my thoughts out. Um, so I had made this whole situation with Ren is difficult because, like I said, I felt like I've been in love with a presence with that is within myself, and to try and be certain of who that presence is. Um, no, sir, Mr. Tiny, it's difficult for me. It's difficult for me because I don't think that this presence within me. Y'all need to stop. Would do anything that was not loving. Okay, Mr. Tiny, no, no. Okay, see if I can. Mr. Tiny's got not accepting separation from me lately. Okay, try to get these thoughts out. I wrote I said a few days ago that well, however long ago it was, that I thought that there should be a breakup between Ren and I if drugs or alcohol or cigarettes were going to be any part of his life, because I did not want a curse to come into my house, because I believe that those things are evil now based upon consequences. So I won't have anything to do with that, and that means that I won't have anything to do with anybody who does those things. Um and so that's why I said that. But when it comes to the fact of like um being promiscuous or whatever is going on, I didn't even bring that part up. That's something I do not know about. But when I listened to Joseph's video about rage bait, like shortly after that, another video that popped into my feed on YouTube that looked like it was trying to purposely antagonize me to make me jealous of what Ren might be doing with this girl in tights, look like bending over looking at her dogs, and the Ren and his friends like all gathered around. And I'm like, why would you do that to me for no reason? Like, if you wanted to be in a relationship with somebody, why would you antagonize them? Because I've gotten past the point of needing strength and backbone to say what I think. That's over and beyond. So I'm like, now I'm thinking, I'm not sure that Joe or Joseph is really my friend or what is going on, because that's like there is no purpose to do that. And so I just have to analyze like how I truly feel about that. And if somebody's gonna try and put me through things like that, I'm not gonna continue with it. Um, it's like, what do you do for yourself when you've wanted something? You've wanted a relationship for your entire life. You sort of feel like you were programmed to believe that it could happen, and then you have this voice inside of yourself that is always trying to confirm to you that things are real and things are true and that you're safe, and then it doesn't look like that when you are observing things on the internet. Well, then that would tell you that maybe either you have a voice that's tried to come inside of you that lies to you, or that's not really who the voice is, but the voice inside of you is lying if it's telling you a false name, is what I would say. And so then you can't even trust whatever this idea of the Holy Spirit is if it's lying to you. Because if a soul truly loved you, it would not be contradictory to what is inside and what is outside. That just doesn't make any sense. Now, so I've thought about actually how I'm gonna, Mr. Tiny, stop it! Stop it! I thought about how I'm actually gonna respond to these things, and I do have the choice to just pull myself away from it, because I'm not going to put myself in situations to build up strength to things that I don't find acceptable. I can remove myself from the situation altogether and become even healthier. You don't need an immunity to things if you are not going to put yourself in that situation. So if somebody has behaviors that would destroy or sabotage a relationship between us, then I don't need an immunity or a tolerance to that. I just don't need to be in a relationship with that person. And this whole presence and spirit thing needs to be worked out. And there's nothing acceptable about anything coming inside of me and trying to lie to me. That's worse, I think, to have something that can enter into you that is not yourself, if it can whisper lies to you, because you're going to be more susceptible to questioning if that spirit is good. And how could something that is not good get access into you? It needs to be driven out. Anything that's going to lie to you is a bad spirit. Okay, so that could drive a person insane, to have somebody telling you they love you all of the time and telling you that all of these good things are in the works and are going on, and when the outside way things appear is not anything matching up with what this voice is saying. So that needs to be put to a stop. It needs to be put to a stop. There shouldn't be any kind of voice telling you things like that. Um, so, what else? I'm still upset, like, that the neighbors think that anything that I say has to do with themselves. I don't want to continue to talk about that. I want them to stay out of my business. I've made that clear several times. Um, I think that if you're trying to get involved and spy on someone else's business, that karma will come back to that person, because you shouldn't treat people like that. Like, life is not a like, if you're gonna spy on somebody and try and make them feel like they can't have privacy, that right will be taken away from you. That is how life works. You can't do something to somebody and not expect that to come back to you. Like, you can't do that in relationships. You cannot do that in a monetary, I mean, not monetary, monitoring, surveillance type of way. It's like, that's why you have to consider how you would like to be treated, even if you don't know other people. If you're doing stuff that violates people's basic human rights, how do you expect that not to come back to you? You can't do that to people. You have, they're like it. Somebody has to, like, in a prison system or anything like that, like, there has to be a crime committed. You can't do that to people who are not doing anything that is criminal. Um, and so, like, it's just a bunch of things that need to be brought to an end. But I'm trying to get my words out. Oh, what did I think about Jordan Peterson saying that he was going to do lectures every Sunday? Um, you know, it's difficult for me to not have anybody to have conversations with, but I do not want to be like a person that he feels like he's responsible for. Like, I can manage um to continue doing what I'm doing and to work through those things. I don't need that. I don't need that extra support. I know it helped me a little bit, but I think that the braver thing for me to do is to continue working through my thoughts the best way that I can, and to continue to make good decisions for myself. I'm like, I don't want to grow a dependency upon anyone, and I think that, like, you know, whatever's best for him and his family is what he needs to do. I'm okay. Um, I don't really want to get into too much um what would you say, too much study of psychology. That's really not what I want to do. Um, I like to know about myself, and that's a lot of times some. If I would say that I studied anything, I would say that I study my. I like studying myself, and that means that I like to see what um, kinds of things that I'm capable of doing in a good way, and so I've decided that I like the type of rhythm that swing dancing has. So I think I'm going to add dancing as to something that I practice doing a lot. And anything that, like, is about how I understand my brain, or how I understand how my body works, or how I understand how my soul works, is really something that I would rather kind of mostly figure out in my dark room, because reading too much of stuff, I'll say it again, I think that the factor of sin and everything else heavily influences literature and other things that are out there to read. And um, if you can go directly to the source, which is within yourself, and kind of try and figure out what's going on, um, I think more truth can come out of yourself that way, because we are not all the same. I don't believe that. I think that you can figure out how to continue to make yourself. I guess the journey is to feel or discover your truest nature as to what you are. The God nature is like the goodness of you, and um, having to respond to people um, who just like whatever it is. I don't necessarily understand it, but um, I thought I would do a better job of this. Okay, so when I thought about um, how I felt on whether or not the situation with Ren comes to an end, um, I think I somewhat have this feeling of it could be a relief for me if I don't have to deal with it anymore. Because I keep wanting things to be a way in which they're not. And I am experiencing too much conflict about it. Like I said, there's something inside of me I'm in love with, and outside of me is different. And it's like I have a very very strong feeling of not being able to trust him. Uh and that's why I say the thing about putting him under my microscope. I feel alerted and wanting to um, find out how he works, if that makes any sense, because there's so much that he seems to be hiding. And I know that about myself. Like, I'll get closer to things just because I want to find out why somebody would do something like they're doing. Um, some of these like videos I think are going to be better for me to replay and try and put into better words of what I'm saying, because I had a lot of thoughts that came out pretty clear and precise right before I hit the button on the camera, and then I'm like, what has happened? I feel a little bit tongue tied. So anyway, the moral of the story, or the gist of the story, is that Ren upset me yesterday. Now, as far as the Jenga thing goes, I don't know if he was trying to relate that to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or what, but like, if he's trying to, like, okay, first of all, a long time ago, like maybe when I was in my 20s, I had a Jenga game, and Darren came over when I did, and had um and there was a girl named Jill and a guy named Josh that came, and they wrote like um sexual concepts on all those Jenga pieces, but we never played it. I don't even remember exactly what like I found that, like, I don't even know if I was paying attention to all of that, but that game never even happened as far as I remember, but I did have that memory. And as I said, I don't want anything to do with a relationship with Darren. I've made that perfectly clear several times, so I don't really know what that is. That that was about, because it had that anime thing, and then it said unavailable, and if it's just like old memories or what. But those old memories don't have anything to do with the presents. But I know that Jenga is a building game, and if you take out a piece of something that you've built, everything falls down. And if that's trying to be like a relationship for a metaphor, um, yeah, if you go out and you cheat on somebody, or you try and like take your video camera to make somebody jealous on purpose, you're gonna make everything fall down with your relationship. It doesn't matter how long you've been working at it. You'll ruin it. You'll ruin it, and then it's gone. But whatever that, like, what that's what I was thinking about with what um I read that Jordan wrote about Cain, because sometimes I just don't um take insults anymore. It's like, okay, I can think of another way to think of what somebody said, and then I can try and see if I should be personally offended by it, and a lot of times I'm not, and I'm just like, who cares? And then after a while, I'm like, is there anything I can even get out of that? And when he said that the spirit of Cain w- uh, will tear down everything that has been built, along with that Jenga idea, I was like thinking of the everything that I have built within myself, and everything that I have put together on my YouTube, and all of those things I've worked, all those concepts I've worked through, and everything that I've learned, that cannot be destroyed. And I'm not going to delete all of that. And also, I have all of that in my memory, which has made me a much more well put together person. And so, there's not any way to tear that down. The work has already been done. But as far as a romantic relationship, yeah, you can tear that down. But you can't tear down the what you built within yourself because of it. It's you're constantly, that's what my house feels good to me about, because here's another thing I wanted to talk to about. Um Knowing that I have my house under construction, and that sometimes I don't want to just hurry through the construction. I like to like find some joy in my day, or focus on whatever that I need to focus on most, even though I have things that are not finished. That's kind of like how yourself is. You're always in a process of constructing and reconstructing yourself, and you have to find some way to be satisfied with that. I know I'll eventually finish with my house construction, but I think finding joy, and being able to feel like I'm not in some place that once I get to the complete finish of it, that I will be um, a whole new person, is not, it's not going to be how it is. I'm always going to be trying to learn something new, and tear down things that don't work for me, to put in better ways of being or doing that do work for me. And so I think it's a really healthy thing that I can be content, I guess, with how everything is for me right now. Now, what was the other thing? Um, oh, when Ren started, when I watched that video, and he was talking about how he just wants to make more songs on his albums, and doesn't know about ever finishing, and with the idea of slaughterhouse and asylum, and kind of like he's just going to keep going with it. And I sort of thought, you know what? I just fucking, he can do whatever. It's like there we don't need to match. And if he's just trying to be a reflection of trying to think about me or talk like how I'm behaving, that's not how a relationship works. If a relationship is really about getting together, you would come towards the person and work on things together. You wouldn't just try and create a situation to be sort of postponing and postponing and postponing being with the person. It's like a relationship is not about mirroring or reflecting somebody, it's about being together. So I just like, I get to these places where I'm like, I don't know if I can make myself care that much that he doesn't want to do what I want to do. It's like, that's just evidence that he doesn't care for me like I want him to care for me, and that I could be wrong about putting myself in the mindset that we have a relationship, but it was, I guess, helpful to me while it lasted. I just don't want to be um, getting myself wrapped up in thinking that I'm getting somewhere which I will never get. It's just, that's pointless. It's pointless. It's pointless. It's pointless. And that's what honesty does. It's what honesty does. But I do think that I'm going to continue with the self talk. I'm going to continue with the construction. I'm going to continue everything that I'm doing, and we'll see where I get. I am evaluating myself.